Hey, hey, okay, hey. Everybody, I am so excited to have you here today, this fine Thursday. We are in for a good one. My sound.
Let's go!
There we go. Playing sounds in the background. If this is your first time here, welcome to the party, y'all. This is ThumbstopLive. You're probably catching us on LinkedIn side of things. LinkedIn family, how's it going? The YouTube live side of things, hey. Twitter or X, you know we got our people over there. And of course, our Instagram live folks. I seen like 500 people tuning in the other day there. That was absolute insanity. But if this is your first time here, welcome to the party. Thumbstop Live is a live show every single day from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern, and we're bringing everyone from the community that you know and love. So we're getting a peek behind the curtain to see how they're wired and why they're wired. And for today's first guest, man, I am pumped. I see this guy all over Twitter. I've been seeing him forever, whether it's a little bit of basketball content, whether it's a little bit of ad sauce that you throw into the mix, or just general good vibes. Everybody, I would love to welcome Rock to the stage. Let's welcome him with a round of applause, please.
Thank you, guys. Hey, Evan. Thanks for having me.
How's it going, man? I'm so excited that you're here.
It's going well. Thank you.
I love it. Rock, there's so many things that I want to get into with you. But before we do that, for the audience who might not be as familiar with you, can we start nice and easy? Quick, tell us about yourself, professionally, personally, whatever you're open with sharing, and we can kind of take it from there if that works.
All right, cool. Professionally and personally, right. I'm Rock, coming from Slovenia. In my previous life, I was CEO of a newspaper. So traditional media, traditional type of advertising, campaigns, stuff you're probably never gonna hear about. And then somehow my little brother got me into self-learning algorithms and advertising, digital advertising, and he got me hooked from day number one since I heard it. So fast forward 8 years later, I'm CEO of Flat Circle, which is a performance digital advertising agency. And what we do, we basically run your ads in a very profitable way and scale them as much as possible.
I freaking love it. Man, what the hell? Just a full newspaper company starting there. What did that teach you about your world now?
So I was 27 when I became CEO of a newspaper that had like 100 employees, right? A very traditional, vertical, very long tradition of like being a daily newspaper. So it was firstly like, well, if I look back, like definitely a culture shock, right? Like if I compare myself to right now, we have a team of like 15 full-time employees, everybody with a very hands-on approach, open-minded, let's say everything, let's go every day, let's like do stuff like that. Well, yeah, newspaper was a completely different story. Everything was moving like a lot slower. The decision I had to make, though, were like very strategic, more important, more like long-term game, blah blah blah. But still, like completely different games. What has it taught me about what the deals? It was a good experience. It was a very important experience about like managing people, different type of people, managing different type of like other organizations who have some sort of interest being in the media and so on. So very complex business, but it was fun.
I love it. It's so funny. I actually started my career in brand marketing at a commercial real estate company. So I was printing, like working in print quite a bit. So like brochures and making sure like it was the right paper. It taught me a lot of attention to detail. Like I feel like you need to get that right because you can't just change a little pixel. It's like this is a physical thing that you have to live with at this point.
Yeah, once you print it, there's no undo button, right? So ugly stuff like that, typos, not a good idea.
We come from the hard stuff, man. Like the hard game, a little bit
Yeah.
different, but it's just like we got to commit at that point.
Yeah.
Rock, one of the things I did want to ask is like while you mentioned professionally, obviously the newspaper, creating such a great agency now, producing such strong results. Guess what I'm curious about there is like founder mentality. Would you say that you've always had like an entrepreneurial spirit to you?
I wouldn't call it like an entrepreneurial spirit, more like of a business type of spirit, right? I was always like big ideas, making a difference, seeing your work having like some sort of output. So when I saw, for example, when I started immediately after university in a big corporation, like you were just a very small part of the whole puzzle, right? Even if you do like small things, blah blah blah, it took a while before you got noticed. So I really like the feeling that you do something today, you're going to see a huge effect tomorrow, the day after, and building something. That was what guided me.
That's incredible. And I guess the big question I have then is like, what motivated you to finally take that leap to say, I'm going to do my own thing, not just be under the wing of another company?
Well, first of all, like the newspaper was a local thing, so Slovenian thing, a national thing, right? And I was, before I became CEO of a newspaper, I was on the edge of like, oh my God, I need to go away from here. I need to go like to the States and like go on a big stage and work with people like-minded and get a bigger opportunity somewhere. And then this opportunity, the newspaper came and I took it immediately. But yeah, pushing myself to the limits, getting to some sort of surrounded with like-minded people was what pushed me.
I love it, man. I love it. So I've done this thing where I've pulled up some of your tweets and I want to talk about them. Nothing too crazy by any means, but I want to pull some of them up here.
We'll see.
The first one that I wanted to bring up, shout out to the boy Luca. Shout out to the boy Luca. So I guess what I'm curious is like, are you a big basketball fan or is it more a Luca fan in this case?
I'm a big basketball fan. So 8 years ago, 8 years ago, Slovenia became European champion. So Slovenia is a very small country in Europe, like just 2 million. There's like, I don't know, for a suburban city in the States or Canada, right? Mm-hmm. So we became a European champion. Me, myself, and my brother and my father went to Istanbul where the European Championship were played, and we won there against Serbia. And after the game, we went drinking with our team, Luka included, right? They came to the fan zone. There was, I don't know, a couple of hundreds of us with the trophy, and we were just drinking and having fun and going crazy, right? And Slovenia is a small country, so everybody knows each other, right? So yeah, that's how it happened. And after that, well, and even before that, I basically follow all the NBA games Luka is playing. And scaling ads at the same time overnight, obviously.
I have the goosebumps. That's incredible, man. You must have had an outer body experience. You're like, no, this is not real. How can I be here right now?
I mean, it was crazy. Like we won it. Then we went to the fan zone, and then just the bus came with all the players with the trophy. Unbelievable. You're never going to see that happen anywhere else.
Oh my, that's my dream, honestly. Because when Toronto won the NBA championship, everybody was at the parade. We got to see it. They were on the bus. But I can't imagine it. The crowds too probably are so incredible. I'm so jealous, man. That's amazing.
I have pictures with me and Luka. 8 years ago, Luka must have been just like 18 or something, I guess.
Yeah.
With the trophy, he had a sprained ankle or something that he sprained during the finals. So yeah, but amazing experience, unforgettable.
I don't
and so was this. Anymore. So was the NBA Finals.
Jealous,
the tweet that you showed. Yeah.
How'd you feel about when you got traded then?
6 a.m. in the morning. I'm still in my bed, right? I wake up, I sleep with my little kid. The wife sleep with the other one. And before the kids were up, obviously I opened Twitter. And my friend, who everybody knows, David Herman, right?
Yeah.
I have like 20 notifications of him. Rock is happening. Where are you? What's going on? I'm like, what the fuck? Like literally something's broken on Meta. Everything stopped delivering. Something bad is happening. And I see Luka got traded to the Lakers. I'm like, what? How is this possible? the Mavs traded Luka to the Lakers, right? This doesn't make sense. They would never do that. Nobody would do that. Luka in Dallas was the one, right? And then, I don't know, I was starting to think, Lakers, perhaps that's not so bad, right? I mean, they have still LeBron there. He's going to have to somehow adapt and pass the torch to Luka, but maybe that's not a bad idea. So eventually, I think it's a great move for him. And this year is going to be special.
I agree. He's in the best shape of his life. And I love how memorable these moments are. You're literally like 6 a.m. just waking up. It's like burned into your brain at that point.
Yeah, I'm never going to forget this.
That's so great. Rock, you had mentioned as you watch games and check all this stuff up, you are buying ads. You're making sure your clients make money. So I want to talk a little bit about this ad game a bit. So one of the tweets that I pulled up was from December 2023. And it was talking about, so Orange John posted the selfies as e-commerce photos era. Then you're like, we tested this and you should test them too. They're crushing, essentially, is the inference. What I wanted to get your opinion on, though, was the idea of following trends versus foundational principles, let's call it. And how do you balance that relationship that seems to be hard to manage?
And it is very hard to manage, right? Like foundations almost always work, but you have to kind of push the boundaries. You have, like in Flat Circle and in general, the whole industry needs to have a very always be testing mentality, right? You don't have to copy what others are doing, but you just have to test. And if you're testing the same thing over and over again, the results are always going to be the same. You're going to be stagnating or getting similar results. And you're going to be, oh my God, well, I'm not moving the needle, well, I'm not going forward or something, right? So you have to test things usually completely out of the box to get better ideas. The results are going to be either terrible or amazing, kind of on the amazing ones, right? But it happens one in a 10th try or something. But yeah, that's really important. And we put a lot of focus into that to kind of maintain this type of mentality, because it's easy to get lazy and just, okay, this, we know that this works, we're just going to do that, right? Unless you hear, I don't know, 100 times, oh, this is working, you should try to test that. But we're on this side, we'll always be testing.
I love that. I love that. How do you stay disciplined to basically say, like, we want to be able to test and not get caught up in those pitfalls?
I mean, first you need to have the budget to test, right? Not all brands have it, not all agencies have it. So we kind of work with brands who want to grow or who are growing, like either brands who are stuck and don't know how to push the needle and grow more, or brands who are like small and want to grow fast. So these are like the perfect fit for brands to work with us. So yeah, we'll always be testing. We have a specific budget that we're just literally saying, okay, this budget we don't expect any results to get from. Whatever we get, it's good, right? And then you kind of make iterations of winners and so on. And then you have like the top performers or the evergreens who make up the majority of ad spend. But you need to have a very good track record, framework set up. You need to know which element you're testing one element at a time, making sense of the data you're testing, and like it's a process that never stops.
I feel like one of the questions that raises for me is like, whenever I'm talking to brands, one of the big things they ask me is like, how should we structure our creative tests in our ad account? And I'm wondering if you have any strong opinions on how they can do that.
I do. Like right now we have two workflows for testing campaigns, testing creatives. One, it's like literally the creative sandbox, ABO. You put different concepts in its own ABO and just test as little variables in those concepts, so you can kind of know, okay, this is what is making the difference. And the other way for testing creatives, it's like what we call mean spend CBO. So a CBO with ad sets, again, with different concepts in them, with a minimum spend. So every ad set gets the same chance in the auction and gets equal spend, at least minimum equal spend, daily spend. What's important here is like either, like when you have a lot of creatives to test, that minimum spend CBO gives you the control over your testing budgets. Let's say you have, I don't know, 10% of your whole budget. Okay, cool. That's my daily budget on the minimum spend CBO, because your sandbox CBO can kind of explode if you don't know what you're doing. So yeah.
The follow-up I have there is in the sandbox. Are you ever graduating creative from a sandbox to some version of a scaling campaign, or how do you view that relationship?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of clients, when we get them and they see us doing the sandbox campaign, they're like, okay, but this is just for testing. I'm not. No, we're going to scale the winners inside the sandbox. So the sandbox most of the time becomes the top spending campaign. But then at the same time, we move the top performers to their different CBOs, Advantage Plus campaigns if you still have them, cost caps, bid caps, target ROAS campaigns. So we use all the possible opportunities to scale.
I love that. I love that. And one of the natural questions that I get bouncing off of this is creative fatigue. So a lot of brands often ask me, it's like, man, how do I know if creative fatigue is happening? How do I get ahead of it? A whole bunch of questions. So I'm wondering if you have any general opinions around creative fatigue.
I mean, I look, well, most of people are going to say, okay, yeah, you need to watch your frequency, blah, 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 right? What I'm kind of more looking at, it's like percentage of new customers, right? In a combination with frequency. Those are the two metrics I pay attention to. Like in most ad accounts, I like to see the percentage sort of new visitors to be like above 80% on a monthly level, right? And then frequency on a monthly level around like 5. And I'm fine with that. The moment I see these two numbers, one going up and the other one going down, like frequency going up and percentage new visitors going down, I know I have a problem. So, and that's when kind of like a red alarm starts flashing and you know you have to change something.
That's so great. There's something really powerful about always having like multiple variables to at least compare to each other rather than relying solely on one single metric. So
Yeah.
something like makes that a lot easier to start validating some of the assumptions that you have. I do want to talk to some of the brands who are either catching the clips or catching this live. So you post some beast of threads, man. Yeah. So you posted one recently talking about August 2025, summertime sadness. So what I'm curious about is like for any brands that are out there, you have so many different insights they can pull. So everyone go follow this guy. You got to check out the content for sure. What I'm curious about is are there any big flags that they should be aware of and take seriously that you noticed from August performance?
I mean, a lot of them, right? Like Meta is changing stuff and the devs are back from the summer breaks and breaking stuff in September, which is kind of the tradition when it comes to, the Meta devs. There are two things that you have. Well, one, the major thing is like day parting, right? So which means like scaling ads aggressively through the day. Like Meta introduced something that they call like the 7-day budget average, something like that, which means that Meta is going to spend your daily budget is going to be an average of the 7 days, right? So if you're aggressively scaling the budget through the day, you're kind of not going to know the next day what you're getting into. Meta might overspend or underspend. So you need to have a very hands-on approach. And this is something we saw over the Labor Day weekend when we tested it. And the other thing, it's like literally, but it's an evergreen type of thing. Like every account responds differently. So especially with now that, I don't know, there are a lot of updates happening and not all ad accounts have it. Some of them are like still using Advantage Plus campaigns. Some don't have any sort of Advantage Plus things in the ad accounts anymore. So yeah, you need to have a very good feeling of your ad account.
Feel it out,
Yeah.
know it, massage it, do what you need to do to get it to where you want to go.
I mean, I'm not sure how you massage a black box, but you do some stuff to it. So yeah.
Oh man, Rock, you've worked with so many different brands at this point and like helping them print money. Guess what I'm curious about is if we're talking to brands out there, when you first onboard them, have you noticed that there's like 1 to 3 commonalities of low-hanging fruit that brands aren't taking advantage of?
Yeah. I mean, the first thing we check, it's like pixel plus copy integration. And you can't imagine what sort of broken things we see. Almost, I don't know, every second brand has, I don't know. I actually don't know how you have the Shopify plus Meta integration because it's literally like 2 clicks, but apparently you can. So yeah, that's the first thing. Like fix your data, fix your connections, make sure you understand this, make sure how that works. That's like number one. And the second one is attribution. That's a very easy low-hanging fruit. I still see brands doing like using view attribution or even engaged view attribution and using that for optimizing their purchase campaigns, like bottom funnel, generic type of products that don't need that signals, right? So yeah, you're literally scaling assets that are not incremental at all.
Something I'm really curious about in this state is like you understand this like the back of your hand. You know what I mean? But then when you have your clients on board with you, they're almost like newbies to it. They don't really know exactly what's going on. So what I'm really curious about is like basically the thread between your knowledge and where they're at is communication in my mind.
Yeah.
So how do you communicate and educate them to get them to where you want them to go?
I mean, from day one, like from the first call, I tell them I'm a very bad salesperson. I don't know how to lie. I'm very direct. I'm gonna go straight forward to the point. Even with my European accent, right? It's gonna sound even more bad as it is, but it's not. I'm a very positive person. I want you to do good, to have a lot of money and a lot of profit. But I found out that like being direct and not taking kind of either shortcuts or telling stuff in a way they can misinterpret it and stuff like that, it's not really good. So just straight to the point, bullet points and so on. And then we just take it like step by step. If things have to be explained a million times, we explain it a million times. And then eventually the trust builds and everything gets easier.
And now with your team, I guess what I'm curious about is like communication can just be verbal and like we have a conversation, but then sometimes there's a medium of conversation, like a deck, a doc, a spreadsheet, whatever it might be. So in your world, what I'm curious about is like, what is the medium you usually use to get clients on the same page as you?
Well, yeah, data in spreadsheets
Okay.
in I don't know, a billion different forms, right?
Mm.
We usually have like, I don't know, a macro type of view of every business, every client that we manage, and everybody in our team and the in-house team needs to know exactly what those numbers means and how they translate into the client's P&L, right? And then
Yeah.
you go into the details with, I don't know, creative departments, media buyers, and blah, 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 whatever it's needed. But like on the macro level, the founder needs to understand, the CEO, CMO, whatever, everybody needs to 100% have trust in those numbers and understand them.
That's so great, man. Yeah, that makes so much sense to me. One of the last things I'm curious about on the technical and strategic side of things is like you all focus on the performance marketing end. Obviously, the creative is part of that process. I guess what I'm curious about is like, do you think that the role of a media buyer is underappreciated in this day and age?
Um, I think that like there's a huge filter that happened in the last couple of years, right? So the role of the media buyer, it's kind of evolving. Like you're not like people see media buyers as like people who upload ads and start campaigns, right? But that's like I don't know, a couple of years ago we were looking at it. Like right now, media buyers are either evolving into a data scientist or creative strategist. Like those who are more interested in creatives, making creatives, writing scripts, angles, whatever, they go into that direction. People who are like more introverts, data focused, cool, data science, spreadsheets again in different variations, AI prompts, and so on. So that's how I see it happening. And there's a huge difference between media buyers who kind of went to the path and understand, okay, this is how my role is evolving. I'm going to work on it, right? I'm going to either think about it, learn about it, talk to the people who are like-minded, or people who just start their publishing campaigns and adjusting budgets up and down.
I like the frameworks of where you're evolving into though, creative strategists and data scientists. Which one are you?
I'm not a very creative person. I do understand the creative metrics really, really well, but you're never gonna see me on a stage making stuff or like telling people how to film and having, I don't know, 3 iPhones in my hand or whatever. I live in spreadsheets, like pivot tables, whatever it is. That's me.
I love it. I love it. The clarity is so helpful in this process. Rock, I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about like how you think about the world and personally speaking. And like one of the first places I like to start is just the concept of passion. So passion is talked about quite frequently, and like you have kids, or I'm wondering what you would tell your kids about this because I think common advice that happens is like follow your passion, find your passion, or working your passion. And what I'm curious about is if that advice resonates with you at all, or if you have any other opinions that you'd like to share.
I saw an Instagram story today, and it was something like this. Like, it says in the story, I was like 10 and I was telling my parents, "Leave me, I'm gonna do whatever I wanna do." Now I'm 30 and I'm like, "Oh, somebody tell me what should I do? I'm lost," right? And this is kind of how I look at things. Like literally, life is a journey, right? You kind of have always a feeling, "Oh, I know what I'm doing. I have goals, setups, whatever." But in reality, like you're always learning how to live, right? I don't think, well, some people have like one passion, like Doncic. Doncic is very good at basketball. That's his life. He's also a very good chess player, and he's also very good at video games. But okay, let's put that for another day. But some people just have that, right? Or like a good musician or something, like are very good talent. But the majority of us have like multiple talents. And you go through life and those play a different roles at different stages of your life.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like when we bring up athletes, it's like rarely is just that one thing. It's like they shine here, but it's like, holy crap, you're good at so many things. What the hell? But
Yeah.
for us normies, I guess what I'm curious about is in your world, how would you recommend people go through the process of trying to discover what they're passionate about?
I mean, definitely try as many things as possible, right? I don't think if you're not passionate about a specific thing and you know it, it's a lot easier to know what you're not passionate about by trying it. And you're just going to be, that's not for me, right? Off the checklist, let's do something else. So trying different stuff, be very open-minded about things and have your doors open all the time about like possibilities on what to do, especially if you're younger. That's very important.
I love it, man. And where you're at now in your life, I'll share an analogy that I often use. I'm curious to get your thoughts on it. So the way that I view life is like different light bulbs, essentially. So it's like you have your career, your relationship with your partner, your kids, your family, your friends, mental health, physical health. That list is forever ongoing. The way that I kind of view it is that it's almost impossible to light up all of those things at once with all of your power. So at your stage, we talked about you going to the mountains, enjoying it, but hard to log off. Talked about you and your kids. We talked about basketball. I'm curious how you think about distributing your energy to the different elements of your life.
That's a very hard question. And it doesn't have like a singular answer, right? Again, I think it's just something that you have to think about, let's say, I don't know, monthly or quarterly, and just look back. Did I spend the last couple of months, did I put the energy in the right things, in the right areas? Did I spend enough time with my kids? Did I spend enough time building my business? Or did I spend a lot of time in my business doing some micromanaging stuff that you shouldn't be doing as a CEO or like in my position, right? Then at the same time, did I put enough stuff into my health, my fitness, and so on? So it's a balance and something that you kind of have to, again, balance through life.
Are you the type of person that sets goals where it's like at the beginning of the year, this is what I want to accomplish by the end of it? It works back into my quarters, it works into months, weeks, days, or do you kind of vibe it out? What type of person are you?
I used to be a very goal-orientated person, like very strict. 10K steps per day, 15, 20, whatever it is, minimum every day, even if I have to go out at 11 p.m., let's go, right? I must do it. This is a must, 100% discipline. Then I figure out like that in life, there are certain things that even if you want to affect them, there's no way you can either change them or that you should put energy into changing them because there's no way whatever you're going to do is going to make a difference. So I look at things then a little bit differently. I still set goals, macro goals, definitely like important goals, important areas I want to improve on. But I pay a lot less attention to things that are literally not worth my attention.
There's something in here, like as you describe your experience that I'm picking up on of like, I've heard people call it the seasons of life. Like you have different seasons that you go through where you're then redistributing, like where does your energy go? How do you think about goal setting? Do you set goals? And I'm hearing like the through line being, it's like you're identifying when those seasons are changing. And it's like, ooh, changing, like let me then figure out how to distribute my energy, which I think is quite impressive, man. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you change, people around you change, things happen to you that, like, for example, when you have kids, the first kid, you always kind of know, okay, my life is going to change, but you're never going to know how, right? Every kid is also a different story. We had a second kid, and I was like, okay, I already know how things work, right? So how hard can it be? And everybody's telling me it's going to be easier. I'm not going to go in the whole story. It's not easier when you have two kids, by the way, especially at the younger age, but do have kids. Anyway, but you kind of get yourself prepared for different scenarios and blah, blah, blah. And in the reality is, as much as you want to be prepared, there's certain things that you have no effect on that's going to happen. And you also don't know how you're going to react to some life things that happen to you. So I think like it's important to just follow your heart, or like for your values, fundamentals of your life, what
Yeah.
you are, who you are, and why you are that.
That's so helpful. And I can't wait to have kids one day. Like me and my wife, we moved in here. This used to be a nursery. So it's like you see this, it's like a children's map. And if you saw up top, I have like a rainbow border. So it's like it's ready. It's ready. I think one of the things that, and I definitely hear you, everyone tells me it's like you're never ready. But something that I'm quite curious about is like you're the CEO of a company, man, like a successful company at this point. Plus you got the family. Like, how do you think about integrating those two things? That's something that I personally like. I'm probably over intellectualizing it, but I think about quite a bit.
I mean, it's not easy, right? So, and it's not just you, it's you, your partner, your wife, right? And the kids, plus like your employees, your business, and whoever is here with you. So, again, it's a quotation, and you have to balance it out. Be very clear with your partner, expectations, communications, how many working hours, what's the priority, and just go through day by day, especially when the kids are young, because that's a roller coaster of days. Yes.
It makes so much sense. And something I am curious about is like, as you've changed careers, you've grown your family and grown your experience. Something that I'm wondering about is just like motivation wise. Like, how would you describe what motivates you these days to continue pushing on?
What motivates me, it's like literally that 15 people from Europe, most of them are from Slovenia, were able to make almost 300 million revenue for our clients in last year. And this number is going to be close to 500 million, right? And this is something that, for example, when I look at myself 10 years ago, even as a CEO of a newspaper, the newspaper was making 4 or 5 million revenue. It's crazy, right? And, you can literally be anywhere on earth with just a laptop and can make a huge difference. And this is what digital advertising does to you. And the dopamine effect and the adrenaline rush you get from scaling campaigns, it's something that only there are not many things that can compare to it.
Oh man, one of the other things that I'm curious about is like you have so much on your freaking plate, and then what we throw in on top of this is like Twitter. So something I'm curious about is like, were you intentional about trying to build your personal brand online and engage on Twitter and with the D2C community, or did it just happen naturally?
It happened like I don't know, before I even went on Twitter, we were just in, I don't know, in Facebook groups, communities, discussing stuff and stuff like that. And then somebody told me, okay, but there's pretty good DTC Twitter community, you should check it out. Like people are sharing a lot of value and so on. And then I joined, start posting, and the Twitter 5 years ago, 6 years ago was different than what X is right now. So, and I kind of prefer the other version. Like if I open like for you page right now, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
But then you have obviously the following tab, and that's a lot better. But yeah, still the community there for like the e-commerce is good. A lot of value is being shared. People are nice. So yeah, it was good. And building the community, it just happened. Like people started to follow me. I was just sharing value, and I like giving back. So
Huge, man. It's so much better when it naturally falls in line with like, I don't think of this as additional effort necessarily. It's like I want to be here and I want to show up. So something about that framing makes it super powerful.
I did also make like some of the strongest connection from Twitter. Like some of my best friends who are in this e-commerce space, we met online, and then we just
That's crazy,
met
right?
in real life as well. It is crazy, right? You're discussing ads manager and how it's broken, how attribution doesn't work, and then you go in real life on a meeting, go eat something to eat, and you're having fun with these people. So yeah, it's crazy.
Oh man, Rock, you had a pretty wild career and like in how it's grown and what it's been. Something I am curious about is what taught you more, being the CEO of a newspaper, news publication, or being the CEO of a digital marketing agency?
Oh, that's a tough one. Both experiences taught me a lot of stuff. I cannot say that one taught me more or the other. It's like different categories, different type of knowledge, different mindset, and so on. And as you're like you said before, going through these seasons of life, right? Some things are like feel closer to you at that moment. You prefer doing them. But when it comes to knowledge, both the newspaper was a crazy experience, and e-commerce and running my own businesses also.
And as you've been advancing in your career, I guess what I'm curious about is like who you lean on for advice. Because I think some people really lean into like the mentorship approach. It's like I had a mentor who was able to take me through this, but I'm curious about how you've approached it to be able to get some additional knowledge and grounding.
Well, imagine me like at 27, I became CEO of a newspaper. In the next half of a year, probably I met like 4 different country presidents, shaking hands with them and talking politics and I don't know, stuff like that. Fast forward 5 years later, I'm talking about attribution and how Meta is broken, or Facebook at that time. So it's a roller coaster. I never had a mentor, but what I do, I read a lot. I read a lot of books. And like both like fundamental books about business, about life, about mentality, about evolution, stuff like that. And that always kind of helped me just kind of having a mindset of like somebody else, how they're approaching life, how are they looking at things when they zoom out, how's their view, like how when they make a reality check, like everybody lives in their own simulation when you have different values and so on. But like how do you approach that? How do you kind of put a mirror and look back and say, okay, cool, am I looking at this right? Is my perception of things the right one, or should I put my focus elsewhere?
It's a really important skill to be able to get clarity. And then like on top of that, get clarity quickly. So it's like when I hear you describe, it's not only clarity of self, it's clarity of what to do, it's clarity of how to think about the company, it's clarity of like the job to be done, all of that type of stuff. Do you have like a book recommendation, like one that stands out as you talk about like where you get your information from?
No recommendations. Like literally just read them all. Like read whatever you think is good. Just if you don't like it, you can always stop. There's no like one book that's like the holy truth. No, everybody lives his own truth within its own values, and everything is relative. So just follow what you think is best. And one thing though that I think it's a big one, like it's the small changes that make the huge difference, right? When you get to a big crossroads, right? You already made the decision. You just have to understand it, right? And that's usually when you think about it and looking back, or like looking what should you do. You already know what you're gonna do. You just don't understand that decision. And that decision is made from all the small decisions you made in the past that got you there. So yeah, daily routine, discipline, stuff like that. That's very important.
Yeah, that's so powerful. Because I'm trying to think through the next time I'm in a situation like that and all the previous experiences. It's like how to understand those experiences so I then know I'm prepared for that moment. Seems hard, man. Seems hard. I'm like trying to, again, it's all hypothetical at this point, but I'm trying to figure out like, okay, if I've never done something before and it's the first time I'm tackling it, what can I pull upon? I don't know. I guess I won't know till I try, or if I'm in that moment, essentially. Yeah. You've been super generous with your time here. I have a couple final questions, if that's cool.
Yep.
Awesome, man. So one of the last ones I have here is this. I'm just wondering, like on X, we see all of these different hot takes. Now, everyone lives somewhere in the middle, but it's just like when you go on Twitter, that's what you do. I'm wondering if there's a hot take out there that you don't necessarily agree with or have a contrarian point, or if you have your own opinion, that might be a hot take.
On all the hot takes, basically. I mean, the moment I see somebody posting a hot take, I'm like, oh my God, another attention-seeking tweet, right? And it goes that way. Like people are posting like from one side to the other side, different things just to grab attention, to kind of stop you scrolling, to get engagement below their posts, right? So the reality in practice, you're always kind of testing stuff and doing things your own way. So yeah, I don't know. You can just pull one up and we can disagree with it. So even if I posted it.
It's so crazy. That's so funny. That's so funny. It's crazy how the algorithms have made us do this. You know, it's just like in order, if we want to get boosted, it's like what you almost have to do, which is there's a conversation of values in there somewhere.
But then at the same time, like if you know this, right, you're gonna value people who are not doing hot takes. Like and value their content more and boosting their content more. And that's what I'm doing. Like follow the quiet ones.
See,
Not the loud ones, not the one
but
that
you're good, man. You're good.
buy my
That's
course.
fine.
I'm gonna start my community, buy my course or like whatever. Like go away. I don't need your stuff. Like I'm gonna follow the quiet ones, those who kind of post value without knowing that they're giving back.
I love that. I understand why you and David Herman are so close. That makes so much. I had David Herman on here in the summer and like got a chance to like talk to him about similar things, and I completely see the parallels that are coming up.
Yeah, the two of us exchange a lot of messages during the night because like neither of us sleep. So yeah.
That's so funny. He always tells me, I wake up at 5 a.m., Evan. Don't worry. Just let me know. It's okay. I'm like, all right, man. I got you. Don't even worry about it. Rock, this has been fantastic. I have one final question for you that I ask everybody who comes up here. If you don't have an immediate answer, it's all good. Throw it to me first. I've got your back. But the question is, I'm wondering, do you have a favorite quote? And if so, what is it and why?
I do. And it's a quote that's following me for the last 4 years. Well, 3 years. And I'm going to tell where it came from. So we were in Warsaw in the Meta office. The Meta, they're going to be probably mad at me for saying this, but whatever. It's been so long, I can say it. And the Meta regional manager, we were discussing Temu coming to the market, all these Chinese resellers, copying stuff, going against all possible best practices, blah, blah, blah. And we were like, our CPMs are spiking, they're copying our ads, they're even using our copyrighted materials in the ads and so on. And his answer was, embrace it. And the moment he said it, I was so mad. I'm like, dude, you have a job because of me. Like I'm the one spending the money on your platform. And you tell me embrace it, somebody who's on loyal competition, right? The fuck, right? So, but then I was thinking about it, right? And going on with the months and the years after, and like, it's just life, like embrace it. There's some things you don't have effect on. And even with getting mad about it, tweeting more about it, like whatever, zero. So embrace it.
That's so. Do you stop like giving as many fucks as you start having a family, and like does that naturally happen because you start to know what's most important?
Yeah, especially because you have less time to give a fuck, right? That's the main reason. But you get pretty good at it, yeah.
Yeah. I love that one. There's something also said, I meditate to just like try to censor my brain because my brain goes crazy. And one of the things that they always talk about in meditation, it's like, this too shall pass.
Yes.
This too shall pass. So it's like stressful as hell right now, but you know it's going to pass. You know it's going to be okay. Don't sweat it all that much, essentially. So that resonates big time with me, man. Rock, you're the best. I'm wondering, you have any final words for the audience?
No, just follow the quiet ones. Have fun while doing these, guys, and have a good Q4.
You're the best, man. I sincerely appreciate you taking the time to come up here. This is incredible.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'll talk to you really soon, okay?
Bye.
See ya. Man, everybody. That was great. I'm so happy. I feel so full. I've never really had a chance. I think Rock and I had been like on a call 4 years ago or something like that. And like all we're really talking about are ads. And it's just like, how do you think about it? But this is what I'm talking about. Like ThumbstopLive is kind of getting that peek behind the curtain of like how people are the way that they are and why they are the way that they are. And seeing Rock and just his journey is incredible, man. Like it's what I imagine is like when you are the CEO that early of a news publication, it's hard to leave all that quickly. But then to know what you want and say like, this is a small pond, I want to be in a bigger pond, and like go create that thing and build that thing. Very empowering. And there's also just like a quiet nature to Rock that's able to then say, well, what do we do next? Like when I say that, I talk less about work and think more of life. And I'm literally just thinking about like, well, what makes sense in this season of life to focus on? Did I distribute my energy in the best way possible? And the way that he's approached it is super, super, super interesting. So everybody, you guys got to go tap in with Rock. That's for sure. I recommend it. Okay. So that was our first guest What I will say now is we will have our next guest joining us in around, I think it's gonna be like 13 minutes or something like that. We're gonna have Jacob joining us. So Jacob, the real AI, the human AI, you know what I'm saying? So he's gonna be joining us in a second. But for context, everybody, if this is your first time here, welcome to the party. This is Thumbstop Live. We're live every Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. That is what we are doing. That is what we're about. We bring all the best guests up here, so I want you to be able to tap in and learn from them. But one of the other things we do is in between guests, we make sure we stand up and stretch. So if you can and you have the privilege or you are able to, what I ask you to do, please, is just stand on up, get that stretch in. So I'm lucky enough to have a standing desk. So it gives me a little bit of freedom. Oh man, I had a terrible sleep last night. Feeling it right now. If you also had a terrible sleep, let me know in the chat. Geez, we're pushing through together, everybody. But how do you get your energy back? You get your energy back with movement. So if you can't, stretch it out, everybody. Stretch it out. Dope. So we're gonna have Jacob joining us in a little bit. I'm excited to have him up here, talk about everything that he has going on, and we can start to get a little peek behind the curtain of what he has going on, of course. While we're waiting, I think one of the really cool things here is basically I wanted to announce a couple different things, okay? So the first thing that I wanted to announce, I gotta just bring up my Twitter here, is next week. Yeah, I got you. Stretch breaks are necessary. It's the only way. It's the only way. But what we have going on next week is that I'm starting a new, I was going to say sequence, but starting a new, what's it called? Thread, maybe? Yeah, new segment. That's what it is. But starting a new segment within Thumbstop Live. So everyone who's been here has seen us for the live interviews and getting peeks behind the curtain of like why people are the way that they are, which is that going, have a guest scheduled out until October. That's going to keep happening. But the other thing that we want to do is that I wanted to actually introduce a new segment to you all. So next Tuesday is the first time we kick it off. But Sarah Levenger, we were talking in the background of just like, oh, is there anything new that we can do? Like, how can we make this happen? And Sarah had the idea of doing a live call-in show, essentially. So kicking it way back. All my millennial kids out there, you know what I'm saying? You can check this one out, okay? So what you can do is that you can actually give us a call toll free at 437-561-5951. And any burning questions that you have for us, we're going to tackle live. So that means if you have questions around Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we got your back. You got questions about consumer psychology, we got your back. You have questions about how the heck to live stream, we got your back. You got questions about whatever, we got your back. Don't even worry about it. So we're kicking this off next week. And it's going to be the first time. So I'm anticipating there's going to be some hiccups, but I'm also excited because I think we'll be able to really access a new type of dialogue where video is sometimes too intimidating. I'm hoping the phone makes it a lot more accessible. So let's see. Let's see. That's the first announcement that I want to make. So if you can, check us out. Next Tuesday, we're kicking off with that in addition to the other interviews that I'm doing the rest of the week. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is the other segment. So I haven't actually announced this anywhere quite yet because I'm not sure when it will actually kick off. But what I will be kicking off is basically this this content creator series. So it's like, what is that? I'm actually going to try and be a content creator and like film some stuff. So I'll just be on live stream while I have my phone and I'll just be making different types of videos. So I think that will be kind of cool. And if there are any creators out there, creative strategists, whoever they might be, I know they are, we see the chat. You can almost like coach me through it. But I'm also enrolled in this cohort of Cut 30. I think that's like it's one of those boot camps that's been put together by a trio of dudes. So they have us posting different things in the background. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So I think some of the cool things, yeah, for real, right? My influencer era. I just figure why not? Honestly, that's where my head's at. I just figure why not? Give it a try. We'll see how it goes. If it's a little bit brutal, it doesn't really matter. Nothing really matters, like Rock says, but I'm gonna try my best ultimately to let that go. So what we will be doing then is just the idea of like if I share my screen a little bit. Honestly, I don't know what I'm allowed to share and not from this course, but we're gonna start to make some videos that are super simple ones, in all honesty. So what that means is if I go ahead and share a tab really quickly, the first video I gotta make, some like this. So let's see. Yeah, the first video I got to make is something real easy, like text on top of it, nice and simple, easy to go. And I'm trying to find out what makes sense. So there's different options where I can do something that's like motivational, lean into it that way. Or you can start to do other things, right? Like you can just like a version of shit post, essentially. Like this one is, unfortunately, I can't take on any unpaid work to help you make money at this time. Thanks for thinking of me, though. So many different variations that I can start to play with. But yeah, those are those two new segments that I want to introduce, that dial-in show with Sarah and then becoming a content creator, So wish me luck. Wish me luck. I'm excited to see how it goes. But I'm also wondering if there's anything else that you all want to see or know. Like I've been doing these interviews. If there's any other types of interviews or any other types of content you'd want to see, just let me know. I know there's people saying thank you doing the daily lives. I got you. I'm tired today, so if you're tired, let me know in the chat again. Like if everybody come alive. But I think something that's been quite cool about these interview series is just getting a chance to talk to so many different types of people, right? Like, so these are all people who are influential in our space, and like you see them on Twitter a ton. But Rock had talked a bunch about like knowing your value system and knowing what drives you. And like I've gotten a chance to have conversations with so many different types of people who have different types of value systems. So being able to have that dialogue with these different types of individuals is so great, because I can like I selfishly I can start to pick and choose what makes the most sense, and I can then start to like curate it to me. So I feel like, personally speaking, I'm privileged to be able to learn from these people, so I can actually learn what the heck I need to do to improve. So yeah, that's a big one. Shout out to Rock for joining. That was absolutely incredible. The other thing I wanted to talk about here is I was always just wondering about like content IRL. So everybody knows the world map. Like this is something now. It's a thing that definitely happens, or people definitely recognize. The other piece that I'm curious about is like if people are interested in IRL streams. So it's literally just going out into the world. If I'm getting my haircut, if I'm at the gym dying because I hate lifting that heavy shit, or if I am, I don't know, going to a company offsite, something like that. Is there anything in there that could be enjoyable for everybody? I hope so. But I think I might want to try something like that. But again, if there's anything else that's super top of mind for everybody, just let me know. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah. During these breaks between different guests, I always try to take the time to reflect on past conversations, to understand like how they've gone, what have I enjoyed about them. And I'm starting to think about a lot of the conversations that have really resonated with me have always been the conversations with the people who are able to get clarity extremely quickly. There's something that I quite admire about that. Being able to get that clarity is not always that easy, right? Like life is complicated. Problems can be hard. When you say hard, it's not just the technical component or getting it done. It's also the interpersonal side that comes along with it. So I always admired people who are able to look at a problem, understand and have clarity quite quickly, and then be able to action upon that relatively easily. So that's something that I've enjoyed, and I've had a lot of conversations with those recently, especially with like Rock today. I had one with Rabba last week or the week before. I don't know what's going on with time anymore. But Nick Shackelford also came up and like really was able to demonstrate and give some frameworks around clarity. But it's been super, super helpful to start to understand all of that different information. Now, another thing that I love about this is like I get to chat with so many interesting people, including our next guest. I've seen this guy Jacob on Twitter since forever, and it's just like everyone thought he was AI at first. And it's like, okay, what's really going on here? Like Taylor Holliday's talking some shit. It's like this is the real AI of what's happening. And all of a sudden he pops out as a whole ass human. And it's like, I'm taking over the world. So seeing that from a distance has been such a fun journey to watch. And then now just starting to see how he navigates and just understands like the space of AI, and also how he navigates like Twitter and just the person that he is. I'm so excited for this chat. So without further ado, I would love to welcome our next guest here, Jacob, to the stage. Okay, y'all? What's going on, man?
What's up?
How's it
Thank you
going?
for having me. Good, good. Can you hear me okay?
I got you, man. I got you.
Cool,
How's life?
cool.
How are you?
It's good. I'm in a hotel in Vegas right now. Um, but not really enjoying the Vegas life. I'm just working at my desk.
Is this for a conference or something, or you're out there like to try to have fun?
No, I was at a conference for
Mhm.
Ship Hero. It's an AI and logistics conference. I gave a talk and gave a demo and stuff like that. It was pretty cool.
Hey, let's get it, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. I want to get into so many different things with you, but I think like the first place to start is for the audience who might not be as familiar with you. I'm wondering if we start nice and easy with a quick tell us about yourself, professional side, personal side. Whatever you're open to sharing. Honestly, we can take from
Yeah,
there if that works.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, man.
My name is Jacob. I'm, if you sense a bit of an accent, I grew up in Australia. I moved to the US a couple of years ago. I'm a software engineer, and I've always worked in the e-com world. So I worked initially in fulfillment and logistics, and then kind of pivoted hard into AI. Met Ayla Holiday, who I heard you mention, and kind of went into growth tech. And now I just build AI stuff and tweet. That's basically most of my life.
I love it, man. Overly simplified, but so effective. So effective. The first place I always start here is like for anybody who makes a big move in their life. So like
Mhm.
Australia to the States has to be a big decision. Talk us through like how you decided to make the jump.
I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of self-confidence, and I knew that like it would be fine. To me, it just didn't feel like a big move. It didn't feel high risk. I don't know at the time, but I was also pretty young. Um, when I first did it, I came to the US for the first time on exchange when I was 19, 18,
Nice.
19. So I just like wanted to have fun and party, and that's like the only thing that I thought about. And then like I had a good time. So when I moved back, I was like, it's not really high risk. I'm just gonna have more fun. So it didn't I think if you like overthink things, then it feels like a big decision, and then you kind of wrap yourself up and like get into knots in your head, and you don't do anything. But like life is malleable, life is flexible. You can just do whatever you want. Worst case scenario,
Yeah,
just fly
man.
home.
That's so crazy. I guess what I'm curious about is like entrepreneur life, career focused. Talk about the 19-year-old self versus who you are today. Like, was that 19-year-old self like have the entrepreneurial spirit in them, or who is it? Talk us through it.
I was always pretty ambitious. So like I had the ambition, but growing up in Australia, it's not the same as the US culture. Like there's no like the idea of like building a
Hmm.
startup or like running a business, it's not as like prevalent, it's not as built into the culture. So I just wasn't exposed to that world in the same way that I became exposed to it through being inside in the US. So I was always super ambitious. I always did things as a teenager which like maybe hinted towards heading towards this lifestyle. um but now I think it's more just like understanding what's possible versus a shift in mindset or a shift in who
Man,
I am.
that's incredible. I think what I'm always curious about here is like that ambition would apply to anything, is what I always see is through the lines. It's like whatever you're
Hmm.
trying, you'll put it into that. And you talked about how software engineering is the focus. Was that intentional, or did you just happen to fall into it? Like, were there other options that you were thinking about going down to?
Um, so my path into software engineering is kind of interesting. I initially didn't know what I wanted to study going into university, so I started in finance and economics. Um, I then did a programming elective and realized that I really, really enjoyed programming. But rather than going straight into like computer science or software engineering, I decided to do data science because I felt that would more naturally fit into my finance degree. So I dropped the economics, went into finance and data science. Um, and then I pursued data science. I like switched that to my main degree. I did a master's in data science in the US. And then my friend in Australia raised some money to build a startup, and I was the only person who knew how to code. So he asked me like, "Can you build this app for me?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So I like spent for like 6 months. I didn't sleep. Like I genuinely sat in my chair. I worked 7 days a week, like 16 hours a day, just figuring it all out, figuring out how to build software, and then the enjoyment I got from building far outweighed I don't know, the details of coding and data science. So then I went into software engineering and kind of worked as a software engineer, got a job at a real company after that startup failed, and then now kind of now now I sit somewhere in between. Now like with the AI engineering, I
I
kind of sit
got you,
somewhere in
man.
between.
So the interesting part to me is the ambition is clear, like willing to put the work in to get it done and learn through that process. What I always love talking about with folks is this idea of passion. So I don't know about you, but one of the things that I always heard growing up was like, find your passion, work in your passion, love, like whatever it might be related to your passion. And I guess what I'm curious for you is like, is that advice that resonates with you, or do you have other opinions that you'd like to share?
I think passion is important, but also a luxury. So I don't love that framing for young people because I think it is limiting. I don't think you have to be passionate, and I've seen it kind of stagnate my friends because they're like, or people I know because feel like they need to seek their passion, but they don't have the luxury of knowing what their passion is. And to like find that is kind of rare and difficult. And so people are like, oh, well, I don't know what my passion is, so I'm not really going to work hard on this thing because it's not my passion. But I think you can push forward in any direction and become passionate about it, or at least like find enough excitement and enjoyment that maybe it helps you understand, like signal towards what your passion may be. So yeah, like I think it's great if you find it. Like I don't think I know exactly what my
Hmm.
passion is yet, but I can definitely get very excited and interested in the different things that I work on and the different
Yeah,
things
for
that I
sure. I
build.
think the through line for you is just trying multiple things. That's like how you're like, okay, this is the program I want to do. It's like, nah, let me try this thing. It's let me try this thing. And it's like exploring what might pique your interest. Yeah.
Yeah.
The passion thing that's
Yeah.
always interesting to me is like it just comes down to the definition of like what does it even mean. So I used to hoop. I used to hoop up until my first year
Hmm.
of university or college, whatever you call it. And if you
Hmm.
asked me then like what my passion was, I'd have said hooping, man, for sure. I'm working in this, like doing something with it. And then at that point, when I stopped
Hmm.
playing, it was a big question of holy shit, like what am I? Who am I at that point? And I think something that I've learned
Hmm.
over time is like from my definition, and curious to know what you think. It's almost like passion is what do you enjoy doing every day that starts to get you excited. So I was lucky enough to be like, all right, what did I really like about basketball? Was it shooting that thing or was it actually teamwork, competitive environments, getting better every single day? It's like, okay, like I'm picking up on something.
Hmm.
These are things that I can actually do anywhere. And as long as I'm doing those things, like I'm
Hmm.
happy at that point. So I felt like
Hmm.
there's work in that
Hmm.
process, but that's how I'm starting to view things, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's right. I think yeah, sports are like it's a different world for me. Like yeah, I used to play soccer a lot growing up as a kid and all the way until I moved to the US. And yeah, I was super passionate about it, but I played with all my friends, our team won, like we did well. I think like the passion is ultimately like doing something that you are good at, and winning at it is probably what it boils
Mm,
down to. And like for someone like you who played basketball up to a decently high level, you probably loved winning and being good at something and being able to do that in like a clearly measurable way on like a daily, weekly basis. I think like that's what it boils down to. But also, I don't know, like the everyday thing, I think that oversimplifies a lot of
Mm,
life. I don't think that like consistently every single day or every single moment I feel consistently about the same thing, you know, even though I may be like there may be like a generalized line of passion towards that thing, but it's definitely not every day for me. Um, I guess it's more like the average over a
sure.
number of years or like
Yeah,
number of
it's like
months.
compounding into not just like passion as we called it, but it also turns into, okay,
Hmm.
do I even have clarity around if this thing I like? So it's like the clarity piece that starts to pop in.
Hmm.
One thing this makes me think of
Hmm.
for you is like as you're starting to navigate in this new world, goaling. So are you the type of person that is like super goal oriented where you say at the beginning of the year, yo, end of the year, I'm trying to do this. Breaks into months, breaks into weeks, days, where you vibe it out. How do you think about it?
I don't write down goals. I think I have ideas of goals in my head that I want to achieve, but I don't write them down. I'm not super structured, organized like that. I just like, I don't know, I tackle things aggressive. Like I figure out something that I want, I kind of tackle it aggressively, and that's like the goal. And then I try to get some kind of idea of whether or not that's going to work or whether it's something that is worth pursuing. And then I'm like pretty quick to move on to the next thing if I don't think it is. Um, but no, I've been goal oriented in the gym
Mm,
because I think that's more measurable. You know, it's like I want to hit a certain bench press. It's
come
like super
on.
easy to measure and like determine whether I am. But for business, I think it's a little bit harder. For professional
It's
life, it's a
crazy,
bit harder.
man. So you talked to me about the grind on the work front. You talked to me about the grind in the gym. Something I'm
Hmm.
curious about here is like um, the analogy that I often use when I'm thinking about life. I start to think of them in light bulbs. I don't know if I'm going to stick with this forever, but at least for now, it starts to turn into things like okay, career, mental health, physical health, relationships with friends, partner, family, whatever it might be. And I think where I'm landing at this point is like not able to necessarily light all of those up at the exact same time with the same energy. So it always becomes a question of energy distribution.
Hmm.
So for you, because like the
Hmm.
ambition exists and the grind is there, how are you thinking about where you start to place your energy?
Yeah, I mean, this is like a golden question. It's tough. So like right now I'm trying to prioritize like fitness and health um pretty deeply. I'm trying to prioritize my professional life as like number one, and like I don't see my family, like my I don't get to see my family at all. Like I've
Right.
moved completely away from where they live. Um I've like had to I live in San Francisco now. My partner lives in Indianapolis because she's in medical school. Like I see her like less often now. We like fly out to each other once every like 2 weeks or a couple of weeks. But like that's tough as well. And it's just I don't know, like you have to sacrifice those things and less energy goes towards those things if you want to make progress in I think in other certain ways. And I don't want to do this forever. And I think like it all has to even out. But yeah, it's huge sacrifice, like mental health sacrificed, like relationships sacrificed, like fitness and health sacrificed. But hopefully I find a lot of fulfillment and enjoyment out of what I achieve kind of professionally over
I
the
love
next
it.
couple of
But one
years.
part of like what you described, at least you're being intentional about it. It's like you know these other factors are like,
Hmm.
okay, it's not as important. It's like really this thing is what's going to take my energy. And I think that's
Hmm.
the important part of being
Hmm.
intentional. Because if you woke up one day and you're like, yo, how did I end up here? And you didn't do the work that say, like, nah, I really want to
Hmm.
be here. Like that's when it's kind of like, shit, what am I doing?
Hmm.
How does it start to play out?
Yeah, yeah. You have to be intentional because you have to have clarity with the people in your life so they understand why you do what you do or why you are like but like why you
Yeah.
set them aside almost like why I don't see my parents but like they understand that like I have to be in America. But at least they understand it because I'm like
Yeah, for
transparent
sure.
about
For
it.
sure. Are you in Indianapolis a lot?
Not as much anymore. Fortunately, she's able to come visit me. But I lived in
Oh
Indiana for
yeah,
like 3 years. I lived in Yeah, I spent a
did
lot
you
of
like
time
it?
there. Um, I like I like Bloomington, Indiana. That's where I did my exchange and my
Nice.
master's at Indiana University. As soon as you leave the outskirts of Bloomington, then it all kind of starts to go downhill. I love the people in Indiana. I love people in Indiana. I love the fact that they like to have a good time, that they're like very easygoing, that like as soon as the sun comes out after a long winter, everyone like the
Yeah, it's like
energy is just
party.
super high. But like besides that, it's just cornfields, and that's
Yeah, I
really
think
tough.
I've been to Richmond, Indiana a bunch for like different basketball camps when I was younger. And I'm like, this is such a small
Okay.
town. Like, what in the hell? Where am I at? So I felt the vibe.
Yeah. I lived in one of
Yeah,
those
yeah, yeah.
towns. Yeah.
Jacob,
Yeah.
I've done this one of these things where I pulled some of your tweets, and I just want to show them. We can talk about them a little bit
Okay.
more if that's cool.
Okay.
Dope, man.
Yep. Yep.
So the first thing that I've pulled up, I'm sure a lot of people ask about this, but is a Cody tweet. He's like, D2C Twitter gets tricked into thinking a guy named Jacob is AI in this process. So who schemed this up? Was this like a you thing? Like, yo, let's see how long we can ride this out? Did Taylor pitch you on it? How did this come to be?
It was a me. You know that meme when it's like you're like lying to a girl and your boy like backs you up, and then it was kind of like one of those things. I like completely made it up, and Taylor backed me up, and then everyone believed it, and it was like enough peak AI that no one knew what was possible. So yeah, I think for about 3 weeks, everyone thought that I was this like CTC AI on Twitter. Um, which was yeah, that was funny. I've actually forgotten about that. That was when my profile was a lot more anonymous than it is
Definitely. That
now.
was so crazy. I remember thinking, I'm like, yo, is this real? Like, is this actually AI at this point? And you came out
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
updated the headshot, all that stuff after. I'm like, okay, okay, okay. This dude's real. This dude's real.
A lot of people believed it. Like I'll still meet people, or like up until recently, I would meet people and be like, I genuinely thought that you were AI, which
How
is
do you
which is
respond to
crazy.
that now? You're like, all right, leave me alone, or like, hey, I am. Like, I really am still.
Well, I had a DM exchange with someone recently because I like wanted to do business with them, and they were like, I don't know if this is AI or if but if it's a real person, like here we go. And I just told them that I am AI and this is the most sophisticated cold outreach campaign I've
That's
ever been a part
so
of.
funny. It's
And
like pick and choose your spots where you can milk it.
yeah,
And you're just like, all right, let's see how it goes. Let's see how it
yeah,
goes.
yeah. I think they I think they knew I was joking though, but yeah, it's funny.
Oh man. Okay, so the next one that I wanted to pull up here, it was a response to one of Taylor's tweets, and then talking about Canon in this case, software service. And then one of the takes that you had in here was the like humans around tech versus tech around humans in that concept. And I'm wondering if you can shed
Hmm.
some more light
Hmm.
on just like that concept and your thoughts that you have.
Yeah, so like I think there's a general misconception. Um, Wait, let me just read the tweet so I can understand. So I fundamentally believe that, and this is maybe a different perspective to a lot of people, that AI technology is different to SaaS, to traditional software as a service, where you are, and the reason why is because you're trying to deliver a fundamentally different outcome, which is that you are getting much closer to the value than you've ever been able to before. And the most simple example of this is before sales software was a CRM, and all you're selling is a fancy database. Now you're trying to sell a cold outreach agent, and so you're trying to sell a sale. Like Salesforce before, they weren't trying to sell a sale, they were trying to sell just like a database for a person to access to then go and sell a person. And so in order to do that, you as you get closer to an outcome, you have to exponentially understand that domain, you have to understand that domain exponentially more, because like the amount of room for error decreases. Like you can build a database around like in a generalized averaged out way, but you can't build a sales agent in like a generalized average way that fits for everyone, because it just inherently doesn't work. And so you need to do that, you need a human that sits on top of the system, at least for now, and at least for a while. So you need a human that either deeply understands the domain and shapes it in a way that feels kind of customized to an individual customer, or if you can't deliver that full outcome using the software, then you need that person to kind of fill in that last little gap where because it's like an exponential curve. So like there's a point on the curve where the AI can reach, and it accelerates to a point where a human needs to cover it. And so I think that you need to kind of build that technology, keeping in mind where the AI can get into in terms of delivering that outcome, and then have a human and be thoughtful about where a human sits into that. And I think eventually, like right now, like the AI might be able to do this much, and the human is required to do this much. Eventually, like the AI will get to that point, but like it's going to be harder and harder to reach that point. It's like playing a video game where it's like difficult to get to the next level every time. Like getting to level 109 to 110 is just as hard as 0 to 100 kind of thing. Like it's going to be like that kind of dynamic. But yeah, I think like that's my understanding and that's my intuition around building humans and software, particularly building AI software. Did that answer it? I don't even know if that related to
definitely. Because I think the one thing that I thought when I saw your tweet is just like the analysis of it and like where the human starts to play is just the like the idea of who's best set up for success to like maximize this opportunity. So it's like Taylor works at an agency, Canon has a software company at that point. Now they're both technically competing for a labor market in a sense, because you want to deliver that outcome. Whereas like software traditionally is just not good enough to actually serve the outcomes. It's just meet you where you are for the most amount of people. Whereas someone like a Taylor or an agency or a domain expert has consistently served those outcomes. So I think the piece that I'm always trying to navigate and like try to get my bearings around is like who's actually set up for more success in this process.
So I'll give another hot take there. So agencies have standardized human labor, and traditional software companies have standardized software product, but they're both standardized. And so the ability to, like, the thing that I kind of touched on is that you have to build your business around flexibility and customizability. And like the most successful example of this is Palantir. Like their business model is entirely customized to the enterprise clients. So like I don't think agencies or software businesses founded pre-2023 are well set up to take advantage of this opportunity, because like they're too standardized, they're too structured, there's not enough flexibility, and there's not enough room, because you're literally just trying, if you're an agency and you're trying to arbitrage labor, then you want the person thinking as little as possible and just doing things, so but that's not going to work. I don't think that takes advantage of AI in the way that it should, or it maximizes the opportunity for AI. But someone like Taylor with the mindset of like, I only get paid if I deliver an outcome to my client and they are successful, is the right mindset to have when building an AI product, and is a different mindset than a traditional software company should have, which is like the software company is thinking, how do I make this as sticky as possible and so they don't churn? It's not like how should I maximize the delivery of outcomes and value in every single vector that I hope to provide out in my software product.
Yeah, there's something around measurement in there that's so attached to like repeat usage that I think like SaaS is so used to. And I think what I'm hearing you say is like, if you can actually take it further, like repeat usage is cool, but it's like, what's the real outcome you want? And then measure that. And it's like, are you actually able to make that happen? Which I think like so many different companies aren't quite there yet, right? Like, it's just like, well, I can only focus on usage. It's just like a smaller evolution of what a SaaS product was. So super interesting, man. Definitely gets me thinking. I have a couple other tweets that I pulled up here, but one is going back to March, and it's so funny how much like time has changed since March. But just like vibe marketing, baby. Here we are.
Crazy.
And you're posting these.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, what your perspective is nowadays on vibe marketing and like where all this is headed in.
I think like my general perspective is the future is here, it's just not evenly distributed. I think there are people doing that are using AI tools and like vibe marketing, meaning like AI driven, AI assisted marketing. I think it works really, really well for certain businesses and certain people um, who are able to leverage it and adopt it. But I don't think that everyone currently has the ability or like the facilities to do that. Um, and so, yeah, like the current state of marketing, there's a lot of businesses, a lot of people, a lot of agencies, a lot of service providers that are leveraging AI. They're doing it really, really well. And honestly, like I think the ones that are doing it the best aren't talking about it publicly because they know it's such a because they know it's so much alpha right now. I heard one guy talk on a podcast about like an AI ads system that they built, and I reached out to him and I was like, "Hey, can I speak to this person?" And he was like, "No, like he's not talking to anyone about this." So like, there's people who are doing it really, really well, and the tech is really good. Like at the high level, the tech is really good. It's just not everyone knows how to do it, and it's not super accessible to like it's not accessible in a
Mm,
Shopify app, for example. But that kind of goes back to what I was saying before, you know, like so what is the purpose of vibe marketing? It is to deliver growth. It is to create ads that scale and have a certain return that returns you more money than they did before. And so to do that, you have to like deeply understand the problem, deeply understand the business, and build a customized solution around that. And that's just the inherent difference between an old software company and an actual AI solution that works
it's
for a
crazy,
business.
man. Because something that I think of when you're talking about these different ends of the spectrum is like people absolutely crushing it, just not widely available yet. Then there's people who are just like trying to
Mhm,
figure out how to navigate AI. So, for example, we have a lot of creative strategists
mhm,
in our audience, and a lot of them are
mhm,
using like chat more than anything. But they'll often ask, it's like, how do I become an
mhm,
AI native creative strategist and like have conversations like that?
mhm,
So I think what I'm
mhm.
curious about are two questions. The first one I have is just around like, where do you recommend a beginner get started with all of this? And then I'll follow up with my second after.
Um, it's super easy. Every single thing you do, try and find an AI product that helps you do it. So like every single time you write copy, try find an AI product that helps you do it. And like don't give up on the first try if it doesn't do well. Like just have the mindset that given a week's worth of work, you're going to find a solution. Um, and if you don't, then at least you're close enough to the frontier to when the solution does come out, you're going to be so much more, you're going to be ahead of everyone else. So like consider like if I work really hard on this problem for a week trying to find an AI solution to do it, then I will get there. And then just try different things. So like I want to write copy, then try Claude and try ChatGPT or ask ChatGPT what are the best AI tools for writing copy, and then try all of those. I want to create some graphics, or I want to adjust my product images. Like try chat like ChatGPT image generation, or try Nano Banana by Google, or like search what are the best things and just try them. Or I want to create UGC videos, like there's UGC like AI tools out there. I want to do creative research, like follow Alex Cooper on Twitter and figure out how he does creative. You know, like just like every time you try and do something, just try and find an AI way to do it. And if you do, great. If you don't, then you've discovered a frontier, which is great as well, because when it is possible, then you're going to be ahead of everyone else. And just have that mindset and just like push it. Don't like the solutions aren't going to come to you. And if they do come to you, then it's probably a bit too late to where like there's no advantage being AI native anymore. So try and find them and just try and push
That's
them.
actually what my follow-up was going to be. So I think like maybe not opposite end of the spectrum, but just like those are great places to start. Everybody tap in with Jacob, like he literally gave you the answers. What I am curious about is like your own opinion here. If someone's asking the question of how do I become an AI native creative strategist, are they already behind in your opinion?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they're behind. I think just like figure out what your goal is. Like, do you want like what are you actually trying to do? Like, are you trying to scale your ability to service clients, or are you trying to scale quality? Are you trying to increase your quality? Like, don't just try to be AI native for the sake of being AI native, and then figure out is AI actually going to help me do that? and then like go for it. No, I don't think you're behind at all. I think maybe in a year from now or 2 years from now you will be. But one thing I always realize is that we live in a Twitter niche where everyone is right at the edge of what's possible. And there's a whole world of people behind you that have no idea what's going on or are not interested. And so just by asking that question, you're probably further ahead than
I
you
need
realize.
inspirational music to play behind that one. Talk to him. Talk to him. I love it, man. I love it. Now, kind of going back to your experience, you've been agency side with Taylor, like building out a product. You've been like freelance life and doing that. You've also talked about your first experience, but also like brand side of things. And what I'm curious about is like these three experiences, is there one that's taught you the most?
They all taught me different things. So working as a traditional software engineer at a software company taught me how to like build good software, which is super important. Working for Taylor taught me a lot about the value like of like value in business, like how to position yourself and how to actually measure define value and how to be and that you're going to extract the most. You're going to be paid the most if you can make yourself accountable to delivering the most value or the outcomes to a customer, which I think is going to be super important in my life. And then going brand side, it taught me how messy the real world is and how a lot of engineers go in and they think like, yeah, I'm just gonna come in and I'm just gonna automate this thing, like it's gonna be easy. But no, the real world is super messy. People are super messy. People aren't necessarily incentivized to change, and um, and so building real valuable solutions for businesses, for like non-technical businesses, is like a very challenging thing to do. And you should be aware of that before trying to do
On
it.
that last one there, with that experience, and you do start to work with larger companies. Like I think I've seen it on your Twitter, and I'm just what I'm curious about is like being such an ambitious person who sounds like you'll grind and move fast. How does it feel to be in a slower environment?
I hate being in slow environments. I get like super antsy and like I think it it's boring, but I've kind of come to peace, come like with the perspective that okay, if I'm doing something right now and I'm doing it for a big business, like I've worked with very large, like very large businesses, um, and I'm having problem with something and it's annoying and it's tough, like this is where I should want to be. If everything is easy, if everything is going smoothly, then and other kids are going to try and do it too and they're going to have an easy time like just like live in the mess, live in the noise, and try and figure out how to make something valuable out of that. I think like that's where I've realized that the true value
Good
lies.
perspective, man. You've been super generous with your time. I have a couple final questions, and I hope my fire alarm doesn't start going off. You're supposed to be doing some fire alarm check in here. But the second last one
Go
I have
for it.
here is going back to a tweet where you're talking about the 9 operators. Like you've been listening forever at this point.
Yeah.
But the real question I have here is just around how you think about personal and professional growth. Like where are you going to work
uh,
on like the personal and professional growth? Mhm.
for me, for like my perspective and okay, um I think I need to for professional, I think I need to seek more success. I think like is the success is the greatest signal. Like I think the reason why the Operators podcast is great is because they're all successful guys, you know? And so I would need to, I'm seeking that and I'm pushing hard towards that. And I want to be incredibly successful. And then I want to use that as a signal to the world, that I'm someone who you should work with and someone who you should work alongside and trust. Um, in terms of personal growth, I don't know. Like, I think the people you surround yourself with are super important. Um, I think I think understanding who you are and what you want is super important. I've realized as my life has changed rapidly and as like I've become a little bit more successful and things have changed that I don't know who I am as much as I
Mm.
thought I did. And I don't know who I want as much as I thought I did. And maybe that is just a constant dynamic, like as your life changes, so do you. But I'm trying to figure that out. and just stay healthy and be kind of at the same time as I try and figure
Love the
all of that out.
vulnerability, man. And if your body's strong, at least you won't cave to all the pressure you're putting on it at work. So goes hand in hand. I did want to follow up
Exactly.
on the community side
Exactly.
of things. So talking about you're like the people who you
Yeah.
surround yourself with. How have you built out this
Yeah.
community of people that inspire you, let's say?
I would just say that there's two things. When I was on, let's just like talk about the Twitter community. When I was anonymous, when I didn't have any followers, when I had no signal of value, um, it was difficult to break into. Like I was trying very hard to reach out to people, respond to people, DM people, stuff like that. Um, but I think like ultimately no one who knew who I was. And so the time that it wasn't worth it to them to give me the time of day, I think but then what you need to do is you need to show that you're a nice person, that you're a genuine person, and that you have and that you're able to provide some kind of value, not necessarily financial. Like, I don't think that when people help me looking for financial value, but just that like I can add a little bit of positivity in their life. Like me being in their life is more important, is better than me not being in their life. And as soon as you signal that, like the world opens up and people are very generous, they're very kind, they're very nice. Like the fact that I can talk to the people who I can talk to, like the fact that I'm here, the fact that I have like the people in my DMs, like it blows my mind every day. And as soon as as soon as you get there, people are very generous with their time. They're very generous with their resources, and they're just good. Like most people are just good people. So like I think figure out how you can add a little bit of extra positivity in people's lives. And then don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to kind of seek them out. And they will give you that in return. They will. So the community definitely does open up
Man,
once you
there's
get
something
there.
in there that's a little bit more woohoo of like the energy you put out, you know? Just like add the value. It's like
Yeah.
the little drop of
Yeah.
sunshine is kind of how I hear what you're
Yeah.
saying, you know? So it's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, like I can so like someone who I think is an amazing person in the community is Sean Frank from Ridge. He like shit posts, he talks a lot of shit online, but like he's very, very nice. He's very, very genuine and he's very helpful. I don't think I provide any financial or monetary value in Sean's life, but I hope that he considers like kind of knowing who I am and knowing me is better than like me not knowing me, you know. And because of that like little thing, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I responded to in a funny way to one of his tweets and he liked that, you know. Like I don't actually know what it is, but he has been incredibly generous to me, and I try and be the same way with people who I interact with as well. So yeah, like just try and give positive energy, and people will be
Shout
very
out to Sean,
receptive to
man.
it.
That's awesome. That's so great. That's so great.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah, he's a
Jacob, I got one
beast.
more question for you. I ask everybody who comes up here about. I want to clip it together all at some point, essentially. If you don't have an immediate
Mhm,
answer, all good. Throw it
mhm.
to me. I got your back to kick us off. The question is, I'm wondering if you have a favorite quote, and if so, what is it and why?
Ooh, favorite quote. I'm not really like a I'm not really like a quote
So
guy.
good.
I heard a good one recently though. I think it was Warren
Mm,
Buffett. Um, yeah, I
it's
don't
all
have a
good, brother.
favorite quote.
It's all
I
good.
don't.
It's all good.
Just do it.
Shout
Just
out
do it by
Nike.
Nike.
Shout out Nike. Just do it. Get it done. Nah, I'm actually gonna throw that in though. That's so funny. Speaking to a drop of little happiness in there, you know. I feel like that's perfect, man. I feel like
Yeah,
that's so
yeah.
perfect.
Just do it.
Yo, you're the best, man. I sincerely appreciate you taking the time. You have any final words for our audience?
Um, yeah, I mean just like everything you want is behind a couple of months of hard work. Like the things that you think you can do that you couldn't do, like with AI, for example, things you think you couldn't do, you can do. And just really push hard. Like in this moment, in this time when tech is changing, just push really hard towards the things that you feel like are impossible. And you like the world will open up and like your kind of like value and your ability will open up in amazing ways that you didn't think were possible. So it's a really exciting time to be alive, a really exciting time to try new things. And I recommend everyone does. And if you try something really cool and it works, then show me so that I can, because I'm curious too.
Bro, I love it. You need the motivational like music behind you. Like you go on those little ones. It's like, yo, I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. Then you throw the little drop of funny in there, and it works together so well, man. I sincerely appreciate the time, brother. I sincerely appreciate the
No,
time.
I appreciate you having me on.
Most
Thank
definitely.
you.
Okay,
Thank
everybody,
you.
tap in with Jacob. You know where to find him. You already know. Come on. This ain't nothing new, but this guy's the best. I'm going to talk to you soon, man. All right? All right. Later, man.
Right.
See ya.
See you, bro. Bye.
Everybody. So good. So good. So good. Like this is what's so fun about being able to give a peek behind the curtain and just seeing how people are wired and like why they tick the way they tick. Like this part is so fun to me. I got a jet. I'm trying to make sure that the fire alarm doesn't go off. But everybody, this has been today's episode of Thumbstop Live. If this is your first time here, I'm so happy you're here. Welcome to the party. We are live every Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. Eastern, and we're streaming across LinkedIn, YouTube Live, Instagram Live, TikTok, and X. If you want to tap in with us, what I will say is check us out, especially on X. So at ThumbstopLive, at ThumbstopLive, at ThumbstopLive. I'm actually not live tomorrow, though. As much as you hear me saying live, it's my wife's birthday. So go wish her some love in the chat. But everybody, this has been a blast. Thank you so much for joining today. And I'm going to talk to y'all real soon. Peace.